Oi, eu sou a Aymara Limma e você está assistindo Cine Arte Variety, o seu programa semanal de variedades e entretenimento. Hoje temos uma entrevista exclusiva com Lucas Till. Sabe quem é ele? É aquele americano gatinho, ou gatíssimo.
Not be able to trace Charlotte's burner phone, but we might be able to track the dirty bomb itself.
Eu tive o prazer de entrevistar o MacGyver. Foi um papo maravilhoso e vocês vão gostar, eu garanto. E também porque a gente está prestando essa homenagem, porque MacGyver, o show foi cancelado lá nos Estados Unidos na sua quinta temporada. O show tá andando bem, foram 5 temporadas de sucesso, ainda faz muito sucesso nos Estados Unidos. A gente não sabe as razões pelas quais o show foi cancelado, mas a gente vai prestar essa homenagem ao MacGyver, ao Lucas Till.
Sad, heartbroken.
It honestly, it was such a difficult experience in so many ways. That's just one part of it. It wasn't like it was all difficult because it's also the most magical and formative experience that I've had because everything will change from here on out. If internally, you know, my work ethic is different. The way I think things about things and approach things is completely different. I feel like an adult now. So it was so difficult that when it was over, I was like, you know what, I gotta get a break. I gotta move on. However, we did our Zoom call. Tristan, who plays Riley on the show, she requested that Monica our new showrunner, organize a Zoom meeting for us to say goodbye. We're never going to say goodbye because I always hang out because this is a wonderful group of people, like a really true. And I'm not just saying that. You know, we all get along. We're all family, and that was pretty heartbreaking. That Zoom call was sad because it also didn't seem like it made any sense. I don't know. I don't want to get into that. It's just like it was a surprise for sure. But yeah, I'd like to not regret and look in the past. So, but it's sad. It's sad.
And five seasons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a long time, and I've heard the whole team. It's like really amazing, as you said. Everybody. Peter says they're so careful. They're so careful with every single thing. They're so caring and stuff like that. So I imagine it becomes a family after, I would say, right?
Absolutely. I mean, because I was thinking about this morning. It's like when I was in high school, because it's not middle school or elementary, because your parents aren't helping you. Or college, but even college is looser because you go to class for a couple hours a day, and then you don't have it every day. Whereas this, I would wake up at 3:30 a.m. on every Monday morning, and then you go till Friday, and it's every day, and you're doing homework every single day. It's like, I don't know, trying to get your doctorate, but it's also kind of like prison. So like you spend anywhere between 40 to 50 to 90 hours a week with people. And yeah, depending. I mean, those that's not exaggeration. Those do happen. They don't happen as often. Anywhere between 50 to 70 hours a week, you're spending with people 9 months out of the year for 5 years. 5 years. All of my late 20s, were this show. So
really, 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was new. We did that this year. I didn't like it. It was weird.
And how did it change with COVID?
It was tough. It was tough because luckily everyone ended up great. We had to shut down twice, but it was the best way it could have happened. And it was tough because if you shut down, they now have to scramble to find stuff to shoot so that our crew still gets paid, or at least intermittently. But then what happens is all the days that I could have had like a 3-day weekend here to rest, now everything gets crammed into these concentrated work weeks. And we were doing stuff we've never done before as far as workload. And it definitely took a toll in that way. But also what's crazy is I think we made the best episodes of all 5 years in the middle of a pandemic. So
Wow. Did you get tested
diamonds
all
born
the
from
time?
pressure. Say what?
Did you get tested all the time? You guys have to be
Oh
tested.
yeah. Monday mornings you have to show up 30 minutes before, especially like cast. We would show up because the weekend you can't really account for what people did. So safety wise, we would come in 30 minutes before, do a rapid test, and wait 30 minutes. And then once that was cleared, then you'd get your other test done. And then you would, every day you got tested. Yeah. Every day you get stuff stuck up your nose.
Does it hurt?
Yeah, there were days where it would, but they got to the point where they could do it without, you're using the same person every day. So you develop a relationship with these people. So they know what they can get instead of, there's every now and then you get someone who just had a wild finger and would just hand and get, they pulled out a piece of your brain.
I've heard some people saying that it hurts sometimes, like, oh my God, it's so.
Yeah, it can burn, but it mostly just tickles.
Did you guys knew they were shutting down or no?
No, we didn't know. In fact, we thought that, I mean, this was in many ways, it was crazy. It was like at the end of a movie where the last day I was looking around and I really wanted to come back. And I saw people hanging out. It would like freeze frame and like someone would do a voiceover like, and 10 years later, she would win the Cinematographers Guild Award or something. It was like, because it was like the last day. I was like, oh, this is the last day. I need to take this in. I don't know why. It was just so happy. It was like we had accomplished everything. We had grown so much and jumped over all of these obstacles and these hurdles that life was like, congratulations, you've learned everything you can here. Now it's time to move on. But it hit me on the last couple of hours. And I was like, I need to be present and take all this in because I think this might be the it. But I don't know why I got that feeling. Because because our show seemed to be doing really well, but you know, I don't make those decisions.
Yeah, I've heard it's doing pretty well. People love it.
Yeah. So I know.
Coming back to the beginning, can you tell me how was the audition, and did you audition to it or did you get invited to it?
No, I had to audition. I feel like I say that I had to audition 4 times. I don't know if that's correct or not, but I know that I think I came in and auditioned twice. James Wan directed the actually back then he wasn't going to direct the pilot. He came back, but James Wan was in the room, and he said that he said I seemed like I didn't care. Anyways, I guess he liked that. But yeah, I remember coming in a couple times and then doing some screen tests. I mean, some chemistry reads with some people opposite me. But then again, what I'm talking about is a pilot that never aired. They shot a pilot and they fired everybody except for me and another actor, and then restarted with just me and him and continued. So it's crazy. There's a whole missing pilot with all new writers and cast members and story, and it never saw the light of day. Thank God. I don't think it turned out that well, but yeah. So I think I auditioned 4 times though.
I'm an astronaut, baby.
Emotions aren't a science. You can't control them.
I work in the night.
How was the emotion when you said you got it? Did you
Yeah, I remember.
A success or?
No, I tend to not think about those things because you have no control over it. So why get either excited, which will lead to you getting upset later, or getting upset then? You know, it's something I never really think about. And also, I was trying not to think about the fact that it was, you're playing a character that's already been established, so you don't know if people are going to accept you. So, try to put that out of my mind as well. I just put my head down and did the work.
It's amazing. I would think it would be, yeah, I try not to think about it either. You go if you get it or you don't get it, right?
Exactly. What can you do? Yeah, no reason to get upset about it after or before.
Because at the end, you don't know why they choose. Sometimes they choose because they don't choose because, or.
Oh yeah, it's useless to let the unknown of a situation like that dictate how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
Because they could have absolutely loved you for something. And this does happen. And then they just get so busy, they just don't take the time to let your rep know. And they're like, yeah, well, it was pretty good. And they don't tell you all the people who loved you. They're just like, we had to move on. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's a arbitrary decision. Sometimes it's something that has nothing to do with you. And sometimes they just made the wrong decision.
Do you have like an episode that you love the most, or a season that you like the most?
Oh man. Yeah, I say this season we've done a lot of stuff that I've loved the most. And it's storytelling, a combination of storytelling, performances from our actors. Everyone, our showrunner, Monica Macer, said, we got the meat off the bones with our actors, with our what we were performing, and everybody was firing off on all cylinders. But we had an episode this year, and I don't know what episode it aired as, but it was basically Murdoch, played by David Desmalchin, and Joey Pantoliano played General Ma. So they come and it's this season though, it's season 5, and the episodes that they're on, that's one of the best episodes that we've ever had, storytelling wise, cinematography wise, and performance wise. It's great.
Did you have to learn so many other things, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes, on the fly mostly. And that's one of my favorite parts about the job was sometimes I say that it's the science that makes it hard, but it's not. My mom's a chemist, so I got some part of me likes those things. And I like when I get something that says something sciencey. Half the time I kind of already know, familiar with it. And the rest of the time it's something that I get to learn. And then that makes me know what I'm talking about and say the lines better. The hardest part is the exposition when you're talking about Mason, and when you're saying people's names like that, and you're talking about where you're going in Herzegovina, some guy I've never met before. That's the hardest part. And and I really, a lot of people would marvel at the Mac moments, and that also I found to be super easy. I love that. I love the puzzle of someone come and say, hey, here's how you do it, and then seeing how quickly I could pick it up and be like, oh, what's up? No big deal.
Oh, I'm gonna need a broom.
What are we gonna clean the place?
Go get it.
So, ever since 2004, all U.S. currency has been printed using metallic ink. So, more bills.
You don't gotta smile while you're breaking it.
Sorry.
It does look like magical, right? It was audience. It looks like magical and so charming and. In action, how was it?
Doing the action?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well,
I can't really see on the other side of these insulators, so let me see if I can get a better look.
Gotcha.
we were so lucky. I mean, because action's probably been, in one way, for most of my life, especially when I was younger, my favorite format to watch, to think about. So I was very lucky that this was what it was. Especially in the first years, I did a lot of fighting. In the later years, I didn't, and they would give it all to Desi, to Levi's character. And but when I would, I loved it. And all right. So the reason I was so lucky, the first couple years, we had Jeff Wolf, who was our stunt coordinator, great guy. And then we were really lucky to have Daniel Hargrave. He's a legend and will be for a long time. So remember that name. Did you see the movie Extraction with Chris Hemsworth?
No.
Okay. Okay. Well, his brother directed it, and he and his brother have been in the stunt world for years and years and years, and they're in almost every movie that involves serious action. So I was like, how in the world did we get you? But it was just nice to have Daniel around, and he's just great. Like one of my favorite people I've ever worked with, Daniel Hargrave, and he was great at rolling with the punches, literally, and moving with our schedule and just planning things and shooting all the second unit stuff. He's so talented. And so anyways, I loved action because it meant I didn't have to memorize lines.
Yeah, talking about that, how was memorizing? By 5 seasons, you probably created a new technique, right? Or no?
I honestly, I've run through a lot of different techniques. And then I just started getting to the point where I was like, you know what? I am spending so much time freaking out about this. I know that if I prepare, but if I rehearse this 3 times with my cast, I'll have it down. Not the chunky stuff, but so I just started, especially the last that we were up against the ropes so much on those last episodes. I wasn't memorizing anything until I got there. I mean, I would read it, I'd familiarize myself, and I knew what it was happening, but I wasn't committing it to memory until I got there because I was trying to sleep. I couldn't do it, but it ended up being okay. That's the newest technique I learned, was knowing that you got it.
But you do in the day, right? You don't like over prepare before. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I've done it all. I've done the over preparation. I've done there's like a technique where you write the first letter of each word down as you're kind of running it out loud to yourself, whatever, so that when you're rehearsing it now, you go, what is it? And you have the first letter. So you have a little bit of a cheat, but it's not going to give it to you. So your brain does have to do some work. And by the time you do that, that seemed to be one of the best ones, actually. But I don't know why I don't often do it. But what I do, actually, this is what I do. So see all these? These are all my lines. So I would write out my lines, just my lines, on this little sheet of paper. So it's real easy to just go, wait, what was it? And then it's just my lines. And then I have to listen to people to remember what, so it forces me to listen. And then at the end of the year, I flatten them out, and I'm trying to get make them leather bound. And then I give them to my mom and my dad.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
When did you give the first one to her? What did she say?
Yeah, she loved it. Yeah. And my dad did too. And so each season I have a different one.
Oh, that's really nice. Have they always been supportive about your acting?
Yeah, I was very lucky. Or at least if they weren't, I had no idea. My mom, took me to every audition when I was a kid. She really is responsible for everything. Because now I have people asking me for advice, like, how do I do this? How do I do this? And I go, I have no idea. My mom did that for me. So it's kind of embarrassing, but yeah. So anyways, but yeah, they've always been very, very supportive outwardly. But I will say this, my dad was always kind of like, could take it or leave it. He was like, oh, that's cool. But when I started doing MacGyver, then he really started paying attention. So that's pretty cool.
Did they come to the set sometimes to watch?
Oh yeah. Yeah, actually my dad helped he was on an episode. It's the episode where Jack dies, actually. Jack's character dies. And he was the technical advisor because we had to do an army funeral. So he was the tech advisor. So he was making sure everyone's uniforms were right, and he got to be in the episode. He was in uniform. We were both in uniform together, so it was pretty cool.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
Order. Arms.
you get the script for the first time, what do you look for the first second? Like, do you think that, what I mean is, like, what are the most important things that you think that you should look for?
This is not an answer for all scripts, but for MacGyver, I would just look for chunks. Let's see, do I have a script here? I do have somewhere. So if I just look for chunks, I go, all right, where's the big stuff, the sciencey stuff that I can't run with someone else, that I have to run and study by myself. And that's not really the best way. It's just when you're on that network base, you have to come up with shortcuts, and that was one of them. What you'd want to do is look for story and relation to people and all that stuff. We got really good at it this year, but I always just on MacGyver, I just look for chunks. What's the hard part?
That's a good way.
It's locked. Because Murdoch didn't just hijack the seismic damper. He owned the entire building. He left the floors from here to the top.
All right, well then everybody back up.
No, heat strengthened, laminated glass. We gotta find something exceptionally hot or sharp to weaken against low velocity bullets. And the only thing that I have up here are cigarette butts and chewed gum, and rocks.
The other door.
What?
Coming back again to the pandemic, did you ever get scared of being on the set and with all this confusion and stuff? Because in the beginning, I mean, for instance, when they start shooting here, Mission Impossible, when they arrived in Venice, the day after they had to shut down, they don't say, they found about 4 cases of COVID. And then there was this big scandal that Tom Cruise was yelling the set, which I think he did very well, because people take for granted. You know, they have like 400 people here. It's a whole huge production to put the boat. Everything is by boat. Then don't do anything without a boat here.
Yeah.
Imagine that thing, and people are just there drinking, talking, everything together. It's not fair. So I wonder for you guys in the beginning there in America, and I heard your show was very strict and careful, but how did you feel about it? I mean,
it was honestly, I wouldn't say it was it wasn't because I don't take it seriously or anything, but it was something that it's just like when we were talking about taking the mantle of MacGyver and not thinking about the pressure of that. Same thing with COVID. And I had, I mean, there were so many precautions that sometimes it seemed a little excessive, but that would also help comfort me in, you know, I mean, it's tough because it's also something that is not, nobody, or let's say this, not a whole lot of people, this is not a livable history moment. Like you can't go to, your grandparents and go, well, what was it like the last time this happened? They don't know because they weren't alive for something, certainly this magnitude. The other thing with it is that we live in a digital age, so we can communicate as fast as it spreads, and so, or faster. And it spreads really fast to everywhere. You know, it wasn't, I feel like influenza may not even spread that fast. So it's an interesting thing. And so it was always kind of like, I don't know. I was able to put it out of my mind, but it made a lot of people. I mean, our showrunner, Monica, the other day said this, and it really hit me when she said this. She said, you guys essentially risked your life every day that you went. I mean, it might be a little bit of a stretch, but it's not. And there were times where it was scary, you know, and not only was it scary just from a you know, like a safety standpoint, but also for a monetary, like people, if you have to shut down more than once, you know, people have to work and they're not getting their paychecks in the middle of the pandemic. So it was doubly scary in that way. That was the scarier part for me, was if we shut down again, all these people are going to be without a job. This is not good, you know.
Your cell phone. I told you I didn't bring it.
Looks like somebody stuck their cell phone out of the glove box.
Did you have to change your eating habits or stuff like that?
You know, what's funny is I'm only doing it now. I will say, you know, man, I try to be aware of it, but it's hard when you're working on a set. There's no predictability to when you're going to be able to eat lunch. It's different almost every single day. The food, I mean, caterers have a tough job. You got to make edible, tasty enough food for 100 people or more every single day, twice. You have to do breakfast and lunch. And I don't know, my hat's off to the caterers of every production I've ever worked on. Even if they didn't do that great of a job, I couldn't imagine trying to do that. So the ones who do it well are really magical beings.
Yeah, they say here that you keep the crew well fed, the set works better, right?
Absolutely. I think Spike Lee, I was watching Spike Lee's masterclass, and he said, you can defer payments as long as you feed people. So, but you can't do both. Yeah. So.
Well, and do you have any trick when you had to shoot late and you're tired, you're exhausted? What do you take coffee?
So that's dangerous, because if you do coffee at the end of the day, now you're going to be up, then you're going to screw your next day. Yeah, it's a balance. It's a lot of trial and error, and I did it probably wrong a lot. But I started meditating about 2 years ago, and it changed everything. Because for lots of different reasons and countless reasons. One of them was that I would be so exhausted and just thinking all these bad thoughts and whatever. And I would do 10 minutes every morning and 10 minutes at night. So, or as soon as I got home from work. And what was fascinating, and they teach this, and you can learn this, but it's true. I would get home and I would meditate. And by calming my mind down, thinking about nothing, I realized I wasn't that tired. I could go to sleep because I was relaxed, but I wasn't. It's your mind making you tired sometimes. And don't get me wrong, you got to recognize physical exhaustion as well. But it was crazy. So at work, I would try to do some breathing. I would try to just calm myself down. But that was more like in this last year and the year before. I didn't have those coping mechanisms the first couple of years, and it really changed everything for me.
Did you meditate with a mantra, or which kind of meditation?
I've done that before, but no, actually, I just do the Calm app. They don't pay me, but I don't mind telling you, the Calm app, and I do her daily guided meditations every day, and then I try to do one at night when I'm not working. I only do one a day usually, but I do really. It's changed everything in my life, you know.
Did you have time to exercise on the set, or?
I started trying. I would be good, then I'd drop off, and so Ernie Hudson. You know who Ernie Hudson is?
Heard about
from Ghostbusters. From Ghostbusters, yeah. So he is on our next episode that airs next week. Ernie is 75. You can't tell. He's maybe early. It looks like he's maybe his early 60s. He can hear better than me. He can see fine without glasses, unless he's got LASIK surgery. I don't know. And he is in tip-top shape. We did a fight scene. We didn't use his stunt double once. Okay. So I'm so curious, and I'm like, what do you do? And his advice was, if a baby's crying in a crib, do you go and yell at the baby and say, shut up, kid? Or do you go, oh, it's okay, it'll be okay, right? He was saying that's what you got to do with yourself. And what was surprising was he said, I just do, because he's in shape. He is in great shape. He said, I just do 100 push-ups 3 days a week, 100 sit-ups 3 days a week, 100 squats 3 days a week, or something like that. And it was so simple. And I was like, and I was kind of doing that, but I was like, that's all it takes. You don't need to go to the gym and lift large amounts of weights just to stay fit, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because that's where my mind was all the time. And I go, I got to go to the gym. I don't got to go to the gym. If I want to do that, I can. But I would go through phases, because you got to keep your body tight. Who is really good at it was Levi. Levi is great at keeping up with working out. She's a fit freak.
How was it to work with Peter and the Italian in the last episode?
Peter is loves to. He's a talker. He's a great storyteller, and he was great. I mean, our writer Alessia Constantini is Italian American, and brought a real authenticity, not just in the writing, but in they cast background actors who had never worked before, and they were phenomenal. I mean, magical. There's something really some of those episodes, it'll be a country I've never even heard of, and therefore I go, oh, okay, I guess I'll assume that's what that country looks like. This episode was different that Peter was in because it just felt authentic, and Peter was great. He was our bad guy, or one of our bad guys.
Whenever we can travel, do you think about going back to those countries? Going
Yes.
in real life?
Absolutely. I mean, I just like traveling in general. So I cannot wait to travel internationally. Although I'll say this, in the pandemic, which probably sounds bad, but I bought a camper. So we went to all the national parks, most of the national parks on the west side of the country. And I was life-changing experience, because this is one, I mean, the earth is beautiful, and especially our country. I had no idea. We wasted. It's right here. Don't even have to leave. It's all right here. Utah is like Mars. Mind-blowing. It's like an alien landscape. But everywhere in the country, and the people that you would meet, not meeting a whole lot of people, but they're just it's so nice, because the news can sometimes make you feel like the world is always ending. And I'm sitting here connecting with real people outside of it, and it's showing me that the news isn't, it's painting a picture, and there are bad things that are happening, but the problem is it's ruining it for the real problems, because we can't identify what the real problems are sometimes, when we're so used to hearing that everything's wrong. And so, there's my little soapbox about the media.
I kind of see that a lot, especially being here in Italy, that I hear the news and I go, oh my God, no, they are creating this drama where there's not that real drama. It's a little bit more, and they create drama about anything, but I guess these are Italians.
Yeah.
Politics, oh my God. I start getting annoying, discuss about politics, what I've never done in my country. I'm from Brazil.
Oh, I thought okay. So you're from Brazil.
Yeah,
Got you.
I live in Venice right now. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, I must say I'm loving it, because being locked down in Venice, like I get out to buy bread, and I already see this beautiful city. So it kind of a little relaxing sometimes. But talking to what you were saying before, I totally agree with you. Sometimes, like in Brazil, I know a lot. I used to travel a lot to America, because my mother lives in Seattle.
Oh, nice.
LA for 8 years. So I think sometimes I know more the States than I know my Brazil.
It's not just the exotic parts of the country. You can find these places, exotic looking things, just down the street, like an hour from where I am here. Now that I have the camper, I think differently, and I go, where's, it's been an eye-opening experience. And the reason I'm talking about it so much is hopefully people can pick up on this, because I think the world would be a much better place if we traveled, even domestically and internationally. I think only 10% of Americans own passports. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Crazy.
So silly.
But if you could go somewhere right now, internationally, where would you go?
I had Japan.
Japan.
Yeah. I would. I've been slowly learning a little bit of Japanese. I'm not that good. I've got a couple of the alphabets learned, and just normal greetings and stuff like that. But I've been trying. But I go through phases. I'll do really a lot of Japanese and learn a lot, and then I'll just do 90 seconds a day on my app, and then I'll get back into it. But I've always since I was a little kid loved feudal Japan's story, and just I love Japan. So I can't wait to finally go there one day.
Do you like sushi?
Yeah, I love sushi. Yeah.
Do you cook?
When I do, I love it, and it's always so hard to get myself to do it sometimes. But I honestly, I really enjoy cooking. I think anybody enjoys cooking if they really put their mind to it. It's being creative and also eating. It's great.
Any funny experience during shooting that it's unforgettable? That will. I know
Oh
that you
yeah,
thought something right now. You probably have so many, which.
yeah. Because we just talked about it yesterday, and oh yeah, okay. So we did this episode. Tristan was okay. There's an episode where I had to wear like this suit because the pressure was so great where I was going that I had to keep it from crushing my body. So I had to wear this like all these like a motorcycle helmet and all these pads, and there was a big suit, and underneath that suit I had to wear like a onesie, a zip up in the back onesie. And so it was so hot that I was trying to keep from wearing really anything underneath it. And I told Tristan because I was so hot, will you zip that down and open it up? And I totally forgot that I wasn't wearing any underwear. And she was like, I was like, oh, don't go that far. And she's like, oh my God. So that was because I couldn't reach it myself because I was like this. I was like, oh, just open it up, please. So anyways, that was, she brought that up. That was one of the stories that was pretty great. And anyways, there you go. That's the story.
That's great. That's great.
Real feelings. I didn't want to make anything weird between you and Desi, and I didn't want to mess up our work or our friendship, and so I decided to bury it until the feelings passed.
Would you go for film, or you want to keep on TV now? If you
Well, because storytelling is best now in like 6 to 10 episode seasons of TV. TV is probably what I'll end up doing, just not probably number one on the call sheet again. I would like to have the time to relax while also thinking about my next scene in the comfort of my own home and really getting to go that extra step that I felt like I didn't always have the opportunity to on MacGyver. It's not a shot at MacGyver. It's a life-changing experience, like I said, but I just want a little more time. I want to be more. I just want to not be the main character. I just want to play characters on other people's shows, quick stints. But we'll see.
What are the new projects now? What are you thinking about doing next?
Well, since the announcement was only a couple days ago, I'm sure it'll take a minute to figure that out. I've got something that I can't talk about yet. So I really have nothing to talk about. But I'm looking forward to the future. I think that I'm ready to do things that allow me to have a little more time to do it correctly. And I just want to be able to take all of this wonderful experience that I've had and transmute some of that, even some of the more challenging things, into something positive by taking that work ethic and all these positive experiences, all these growth experiences, and turn them into a polished version of myself on my next project and going forward, and just trying to be better. Because before I unfortunately, I had to take jobs to get my health insurance. I had to do stuff. And also I wasn't really focused, and I would take stuff that I would kind of be like, I think I can do better, but I'm not applying myself. Whereas now I have a little more financial stability, and I do have a desire to be a part of, stuff that I can apply myself on, So that's the future I have in mind so far. That's about all I got.
Oh, that's inspiring, I must say.
But when I got on MacGyver, it's like, this is, you're going to get 2 takes, or if we do more, you're going to be here 16 hours a day. And we can't do that fiscally, and also for sustainability for you. So you're going to have to come in, you're going to have to know everything backwards and forwards, and you're just not going to have a life. And so I had to shape up my desire, passion for homework and all that kind of stuff, and just coming in prepared, because it's not just hurting me, it's hurting everybody else if I don't step my game up.
And do you think was the need that make that movement, like the need, the pressure, because I mean, so many people I think can relate to what you're saying, especially me. I can
Yeah. Are you, did you say the pressure of the situation?
No, the unprepared, like you're doing 20%, 10% of what you can do, and
Right.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
getting from what you're saying, and I'm relating to
Yeah.
that in a sense. When I had Milton Katselas critique me one time, and he said, "You're doing 10%." I'm like, "Really?" And then when you go think, and you say, "Oh my God, yes, I could have done
Absolutely.
so much more," and what it's holding us back from doing it. So
Absolutely.
just by getting to that point, I think you conquer a whole world, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
now you have no
Well,
more limits.
yeah, exactly. Because I mean, I surprised myself, usually in hindsight, when I look back and I go, I would have complained about the first step of 10 steps. And because life pushed me into those, I would never have done that myself because I'm kind of lazy. But I'm thankful for these things that seem so challenging and impossible at the time, because I found out that they were possible and I could do all those things. And most people don't do those things. But because of the position that I was in, I was fortunate enough to be forced to grow that way. And I think that everyone should understand that about themselves, what they're capable of. We're capable of anything.
So
But you do have to apply yourself.
what would you advise? Apply yourself?
Yeah, I think, yeah, you have to. Comfort is the most sustainable drug habit there is, because you can do it your whole life. And you could actually think that everything's good because of it. But one of my greatest strengths and weaknesses is I plunge myself into things, I think subconsciously, because I know how much I complain and I'm flaky and I try to get out of stuff, that I push myself and I'm in a corner and there's only one way out and it's through. So I will subconsciously find things, throw myself over the edge so I can't get back and be like, all right, I got to figure this out. Because if I leave myself any other option, I'm going to distract myself. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to come up with excuses. Now that's just my personal way of going about it. Other people are good at just finding those challenges, finding personal growth every single day. And I'm not that way. So for me, it's just constantly trying to challenge yourself, but also it's about balance, because you can burn yourself out. You can become a different person that you're not every day if you aren't aware of your behavior and how you're treating yourself, and establishing boundaries with people and even inanimate or not just people, but with the system, being like, just stand up for yourself when you know it's right, and don't let anyone. Just be aware of what your limits are in that moment. Because I also push myself a little too hard sometimes, and I made some, forgivable, but for me it was like, I was aware of how I was behaving and I couldn't control it, so it's about that balance. That's my advice. Find balance, but constantly try to challenge yourself. Yeah, absolutely. That was a great interview, Aymara. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and everything you said. It's really inspiring, and I wish you I can't say best of luck, because you already have everything.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's a good perspective. Makes me feel gracious.
Gostaram? Nós também. Então vocês já sabem, próxima sexta-feira, às 14h, a gente tem encontro marcado. Cine Arte Variety, aqui no VRT Channel. E no próximo programa vocês verão uma entrevista exclusiva com Toff, o diretor de Mulher Gato.
You're gonna look like a cop killer.
I might not be a hero, but I'm certainly not a killer.
Próxima sexta-feira, assiste aí, não perca. Um beijinho, tchau!